Before we begin today's episode, we want to inform you, the viewer, that today's episode has topics that are of a sensitive nature. Please use your own discretion before watching this episode and feel free to skip to the next one. Your well-being is our top priority.
There was a point in my life where I used to tell the Lord to just stay out of my life.
Wow.
I said, God, stay out of my life. I don't want you in my life. You're bugging, just stay. Because every time I would draw to something, it would just shatter it. And there was moments where I would pray, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Valley of the Heroic podcast. I want to welcome you to today's episode where I am here today with my new friend, Jay. Jay, what's up? Say what's up to everybody in the camera.
What's up?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you, bro. I'm excited to, hear a little bit of your story. You were sharing with me right before we started that you're a flight attendant. You've been working in airlines for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so somebody who's obviously well-traveled, right? More well-traveled than I am, and many other people who are listening. A question that's coming up for me right now is just wondering, as you've gone and been able to see different people groups from different nations and different places, and you think about the way that God works in humanity, what's something that kind of stands out to you as the same between all different cultures that you've been able to see?
Wow. That's a hard question.
Hard questions are good questions.
I think that his creation, we're all different. We're all in different parts of the world. He placed us in different areas of this earth, right? Just seeing that we are all part of his image, his creation.
Wow. So you're seeing that to an even deeper level.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing God's image in all of these different cultures.
Yeah.
No matter what, you're still seeing his kind of his handiwork in all different people.
I think where it comes at, where that verse, earth is full of his glory, or his creation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just seeing people from all sides, different places, kind of stuck there, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I could imagine how amazing it is to be able to see not only God's creation in the sense of us, going to a crazy forest in Brazil or something like that, right? Or seeing the wonderful beaches of Puerto Rico, or I have living it experience as far as the world, right? But being able to see God in people, I guess because you're able to see it in different cultures, it becomes even more real to you.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that whatever is familiar is often overlooked.
Right.
So I come into this office every single day. And just before this episode, right, Angel, who was on a previous episode, your friend, you guys go to the same church, right? He's here with us as well. And I was looking around. I'm like, where's the tripod? And I looked at the exact place that it was, didn't see it. And Angel's like, oh, is it this one? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that happens to me all the time in here, right? I think part of it is because I'm terrible at seeing things. My stepmother used to yell at me all the time, right? But I also think that there's this element of us overlooking what is familiar.
Yeah.
And so somebody who's quote unquote less traveled, right? If I spend my whole life in Jersey, Jersey's Jersey. You see the same thing every single day.
Every day.
But when you get to expose yourself to different cultures and different people and see God's handiwork in all of the different faces and languages and beauty in this world, that's a different experience. But what I'm trying to get at is the fact that I think we need to be able to see it in the familiar as well.
Yeah. To answer that question, it's just he created all of us, right? Everyone, everywhere you go, you're going to experience his creation.
Yeah.
And we just have to see how his love through it, his love for humanity, love of people, how we treat each other, I'm raised in Jersey, right? And I come to to Europe, and they have different cultures, how they just sit and get along with each other, how they spend time with. It's just, it's different. And that's part of like how God created everything to be, you know, like he wanted us to sit down and talk with each other and have community with each other.
Yeah.
Just see everything. It's just kind of stuck on this question. So it's like,
you're thinking about it.
Yeah, thinking about it.
Yeah, because there's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about it because we're so complex.
Yeah.
And we all have a story.
Yeah.
We all have things that we're going through. And then what's normal to us is not normal to other people.
Yeah.
Like you said, you go to Europe and it's completely different.
Yeah.
What caused them over there to get to a culture that values face-to-face connection? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not that you need to answer that.
No,
right?
like, I'm agreeing with you. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really making me think about a lot, actually, but just also our stories and how that influences who we're becoming.
Yeah.
Right? Because like even on this podcast, people come on and they come to share their story, obviously, and all of those different experiences that they've had lead up to the moments that make up who they are today.
Yeah.
Right? Like you, Jay, you are not just the sum of your experiences, but God's pen actually comes into there and writes a story.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because humanity is not just made by God, but we are being made by God.
Yeah.
Right? And I think about how people come here, they share their story. The people listening who might not ever even be on a podcast are having their stories written. And it's beautiful to see just how much God is working in all of us throughout the whole world, because we can get so focused in on us that we forget that there are billions of people that we will never, not just meet, we'll never even hear about.
Yeah.
And God is working in their lives too.
Right.
And, you know, I'm curious. I'm definitely curious about you because this is our first time meeting.
Yeah.
I'm curious, where do you find God working the most in your life? Or where have you found him working the most in your life where you really felt like his pen came down and touched?
I see his hand like just showing me constant love. Growing up in a single parent home with 5 siblings, I was the youngest.
Oh man, that's rough.
My mom did everything. Like she did everything. God was the provider. Just his love, that not having a father figure in the home.
Yeah.
And what I see now, how he is constantly showing me that he was always there through my childhood, through my teen life, and present now in my adult life. That's the story he's writing. Story of love, of redemption, of just unconditional. I died for you. I'm writing a story, and I'm writing a story of love. And that's how I feel that the Lord is working in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, bro. Thank you for sharing that. As somebody who came from a single parent household, I know just how difficult that can get.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have older siblings. I'm the oldest on both sides of my family. On my dad's side, I have 3 siblings, and on my mom's side, I have 3. But I did grow up with my mom, just me and her, until I was 11, give or take. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but around 10, 11 years old. And there were some tough times. You know, I could imagine it was still tough with 5 siblings, probably tougher in some ways. And, you know, I just want to say that I identify with that. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to hear more about why you feel like God was loving you through that and how he was there. And maybe just sharing like what you personally went through, because it sucks growing up without a dad, man. I know how it affected me.
It sure does.
Like I know how it messed me up in so many ways. And my dad was still present, right?
Yeah.
But I only saw him usually once a year.
Yeah.
So he's still like, he existed, of course,
Yeah.
but it's not the same.
Yeah.
So you share with me.
Wow. Well, growing up, I remember the day that my dad left. One of the,
Just hit me hard.
that
Woo.
was, and I replay it a lot. Wow. And I know exactly what I was wearing. I was at least maybe 3 years old. I had a bottle in my hand, blue jumper, and I would cry, "Don't leave, don't leave, don't leave." And like he left, and all I did was cry. And I continuously play that childhood,
Yeah.
with everything. I think that the way the Lord just he reminded me that even though your father, your earthly father left you, I was always there. Like his hand was written everywhere. Like even when I was, I was molested, he was there. And he just, what I'm trying to say is that God continuously just poured his love to me. I remember when my mom used to drag me to church, and the first time I experienced the Holy Spirit, and I cried the entire moment, and she didn't know what was going on, but I was just crying.
Yeah.
Because I was sleeping in church.
That's crazy.
As a kid, I was like, I didn't want to go to church, but
Yeah.
I slept under the bleachers, and
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I wake up and I'm like crying and shaking, and I'm experiencing what everyone else was experiencing, and I'm just crying. And as you were asking me that question, like why is that the Lord is showing me his love, is because I had so many like sections in my life where I always had to like survival mode, and it was just survival mode. And that he never left me. Like even when I wandered off, he was still present. He was still present, and his love is just I have to say that because that's all I feel from him.
Yeah.
The most of the times when I'm going through my stuff, like everyday challenges, like I go through it, but I feel his love.
Yeah.
And even when I was running away from him, there was always that I want to be near him, you know. So there was a point in my life where I used to tell the Lord to just stay out of my life.
Wow.
I said, God, stay out of my life. I don't want you in my life. You're bugging, like, just stay, like, because every time I would draw to something, it would just shatter it. And there was moments where I would pray. I was like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. And it's that verse that, like, it doesn't matter where you go, I'm still going to be there. Like, what can separate me from your love?
Yeah.
He literally is showing me that you can run. My love is still there. And that's all I feel. Like, I constantly feel his love. Even when I screw up, I constantly feel his love. So, yeah, that's why I say that. Like, I'm feeling that love from him constantly. Yeah.
There's some aspects of your journey that I think that, for me at least, and I'm sure some of the listeners, there's these big dots that you shared. First of all, obviously, you sharing with me that you can remember the moment that your dad left.
Yeah.
That's I was one when my parents separated and divorced, so I don't remember anything. For me, I don't have any memories of my mom and my dad being together. So, but to remember the moments when he's walking out the door, that's a big life event.
Yeah.
Obviously, you shared briefly about the assault that you experienced, the running away from God as well.
Yeah.
And then also arriving to where you are today with feeling like his love has been there no matter what.
Yeah.
So what I would love for you to do for me,
Yeah.
in your obviously wonderful story, is connect those dots. I'm wondering how you got from one thing to the next. And obviously you don't have to share about all of them, but connecting those dots, especially as far as how was God involved?
Yeah.
Right. So two things. I think we always hold two things in our hand. One is the one that we have in the moment, which is our experience.
Yeah.
Like you shared with your dad leaving, you're crying, don't leave, please don't leave, please don't leave.
Yeah.
You remember the clothes you were wearing. Like that's your experience. And then later on, we get the benefit of seeing God's hand in it.
Yeah.
So,
sorry. Just connecting these dots are like, sometimes I wonder if he was around, would I even have the relationship I have with God now?
yeah. Did you guys grow up in the church?
I grew up in a church. Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in the church. My mom, full blown Pentecostal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get the picture now. Yeah. I know how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I used to be dragged to church, even against my will.
Yeah.
But I thank God for those days.
Yeah, of course.
Because it really settles in what it builds up like, hey, you need to be near the Lord and His people. So growing up, it was my mom would drag us to church, Sunday school, and church Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays. It was constant.
Real Pentecostal. 4 days a week, you
4
said?
days a week.
Yeah.
We were even
more days of the church than you are home. Yo.
We were even going to like the Damas service.
Oh my goodness, bro. Yo, Spanish Pentecostal people do it right, bro. I don't know if it's still like that, bro, but I remember the days.
Yeah. So even in like throughout high school, like growing up, and I feel like sometimes I would just like, one day I feel like I just woke up and that was life, like now the hard stuff is coming. My teenage years, I started like drifting away from the Lord. But at the same time, going to church, my relationship wasn't my relationship with God was, I didn't want to go to hell.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like, that's what was drilled into me. Oh, you're going to go to hell. You do this, you do that. That was the constant. It wasn't relationship. It wasn't love. It wasn't, and you serve the Lord because you love Him, because of what He did for you. And getting into my teenage years, my high school years, I drifted hardcore away from the Lord. I didn't go to church at all. I started going into like my sexuality. and started experiencing the emptiness from not having my father at home.
Yep.
To jumping into sexual activities, to just
Trying
not
to
even
fill that void.
trying to fill that void, So it was, I drifted. I think I was 17 when I came back to like the Lord, and I was going to another Pentecostal church, and the struggle was there, like, but there was no. It was all like, you have to repent, you can't do this, you can't do that, but I was still struggling, struggling with sexuality, sexual, my desires, and I gave up. I was tired. I was like, I'm not doing this. It was like I was going to church, falling, repent, do it all over again, pray for me. Nothing was happening.
Yeah.
Nothing. And it was just like rebuking the demon of homosexuality out of my life. And that was it. Like nothing. No sit down. Or I wandered away from the Lord, and I basically almost for like 20 years I didn't serve the Lord.
Wow. So 20 years, you're completely out of the church. You're like, I'm done. And during this time, this is when you're saying the prayer, God, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about that. Because I like, if I used to tell people, not that I used to tell people, but I'd have conversations with people who like backslid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is such a like terrible term, by the way. It's like, you backslid. Like there's so many, whatever.
Yeah.
We won't even get into that. But I feel like many people have told me that once, that scripture that says, once you experience him, it's like, that's it, right?
Yeah.
And that rings very true. Like, I've talked to people who have been out of church for years, and they tell me, he's still there.
Yeah.
I can't run away from him.
Right.
And then sometimes people just see me, and because like I was their Bible study teacher when we were 13 years old, like they see me and they're like running in the other direction when I have no judge. Like there's nothing that anybody has ever told me where I'm just like, oh, wow, qué pecador, mira este. Like, no, I'm not doing that, right?
Yeah.
But that's just the way I am, right? I know not everybody's like that. But I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
I did not have a season of like where I feel I don't even feel like I really backslid, but in 2016, in the first year of my marriage, I became severely depressed. And just going into church would trigger me.
Yeah.
I became very skeptical about pastors specifically. Because of some pain that I had with my pastor at the time, which thank God has been resolved. But I couldn't go to church for some time because it was just, I would go in and I would be like crying uncontrollably. So people are like, wow, God's really ministering to this guy. Meanwhile, I'm like triggered, like it was really bad.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to church for like a year and some change, I think it was.
Yeah.
But I still felt connected to God, and I still knew that I loved him and that I was going to eventually this would subside and he had a plan and a purpose for my life. Was I angry with him at times? Definitely.
Yeah.
Did I start cursing more? Yes. I was a big sinner during that time.
Yeah.
So maybe in a way I did backslide, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel the same to me. So that was a very long-winded way of saying I'm curious about what that experience was like for you, those 20 years where you were praying that prayer, God, leave me alone.
Yeah. I feel like the Lord just allowed me to just go and live my life. I went from never having a relationship with a man to just having a relationship with a man. I remember time after time throughout the years, just, being in relationships. And my heart was always broken. It was, I wanted a stable relationship, but there was no stability in it. And it was just from those 20 years of absence in the Lord, I don't think he was ever absent.
Yeah.
Absent, like me physically just saying, being present. I think he permitted me to just in my 20s just do whatever the hell I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Is that okay to say?
You can say whatever you want, bro. Honestly, you could say whatever comes. Like I told you, if you want me to edit it out, I'll edit it out. But you feel free to speak how you feel.
Yeah. I believe he allowed me to just live how he just, although I had a praying grandmother, a praying grandmother, mother, and my mom always behind me, or like, you need to, change your life or whatever. But I remember in that year, those years in my 20s, I told my mother like I was in love with a man, and she broke down crying.
Yeah.
And she wasn't worried about what I was feeling or why I was feeling this. She was worried about like what others would say. And then she brought the Bible, but that didn't help me, that didn't do anything for me. So I just did more. It's like, God doesn't love me. Like, this is who I am, and this is what I want to do.
Can we park there for a second? 'Cause wow, there's a lot there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's very insightful.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why in a second. You're probably wondering, what am I talking about? But
Yeah.
it's just insightful to me, the fact that you said she didn't care about how you were feeling.
Yeah.
She cared about, you know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say something like, she cared about the fact that, I was going to hell now because I was living my life this way.
Yeah.
But to say that she cared more about what other people thought.
Yeah.
That's very insightful.
Yeah.
Right. And a big reason why I say that is because something that I typically tell people is that there's a lot of discourse now, especially around homosexuality.
Yeah.
You could find a bunch of different churches that believe a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
But what I find really interesting, as far as like where we grew up in the Pentecostal churches, and how they were so like adamant against that.
Yeah.
Right. They were so like,
Yeah.
like I can hear preachers in my head literally saying that the fornicators, in Spanish, of course,
Yeah.
fornicators and homosexuals will not,
Yeah.
no heredan el reino de los cielos. Like
Exactly.
they're not going to heaven, right?
Yeah.
And those same pastors never like preached a sermon against like obesity, right? Those same pastors never preached a sermon, almost never preached a sermon on like just like quote unquote normal sexual sin,
Right. Right.
or pornography.
Right.
How many sermons have you heard about porn or masturbation or whatever it is that you want to label as one of the like sins, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's, I'm trying to be careful because everybody has different beliefs.
Yeah.
But, I know what I believe and you know what you believe, right? So, but the big thing for me that I notice for a lot, like I was saying, the churches that we grew up in, why there's such a targeting towards homosexuality as a sin is because it's always easiest for us to judge a sin we don't identify with.
Right.
I could sit here, right, And I could preach for 10 hours about how bad homosexuality is because I've never struggled with it.
Right.
But when I was 15 years old and I was leading a Bible study,
Yeah.
and I needed to stand in front of all these other people who were coming to my Bible study, and I was struggling with having sex with my girlfriend,
Wow.
I wasn't preaching about that.
No.
Why? Because that one hit home.
Yeah.
It's always easier for us to point the finger. And because I guess you could say that homosexuality is a rarer sin.
Yeah.
It's easier for us to point the finger at, and therefore it becomes easier to judge. And therefore your mom is in a position now
Yeah.
where she's like worried. What are people going to say?
Yeah.
When scripture tells us you commit one,
Yeah.
you've committed them all.
Committed them all. Yeah.
Sin separates us from God.
Right.
What do we need? We need the cross.
Yeah.
We need God's love. Them trying to rebuke a demon out of you 40 times in a row without love was never going to do anything.
Yeah. That was.
But you like, let me stop you for a second. I shouldn't be stopping you, but I'm like really like, but you know why? How can they pray for someone that they're not even loving? No judgment towards them, because again, we're operating based on our understanding. A lot of pastors, when we were growing up, they didn't have formal theological training.
Right.
They were coming to this country as 17-year-olds, working very hard, getting saved, starting churches. Like they deserve their flowers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, we gotta tell them, y'all messed up a little bit on this part.
Right.
We still love you.
Yeah.
But we gotta, or at the very least, hey, let's not do this again.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that it's important. Why I wanted to stop there is because we have to be able, like, if you're a Christian that is dealing with a person that you love and you care about, maybe it's your kid. Maybe it's somebody who's in the same situation that your mom was. If you do not take a second to sit down, you know what's the big new one? The big new one is gender identity.
Yeah.
The church doesn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll never forget, and I'll shut up after this, bro. I'm sorry. But I'll never forget reading this thing, and I keep glancing to make sure that the camera doesn't shut off. I remember reading this one thing about gender identity.
Yeah.
Where somebody who, I don't remember if they were born biologically male or female, I don't remember, but they were just sharing their story and how they grew up in the church. They felt like they were the opposite of what they were born as.
Yeah.
And they came to a point where this is the point where they give their life back to Jesus, right? And let's say they're let's just like kind of make it up here, because the story is what matters, not the details. Not that I want to erase them, but I just don't remember. But let's say their name was Eric, like me, when they were born.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a born male biologically. They grew up, felt and identified as a female, and changed their name to Joanna, which is my wife's name, right? What they said was, because they eventually came back to him.
Yeah.
What they said was that when God encountered them and they felt the presence of God,
Yeah.
and they heard God speak to them. I'm only saying they and them because I don't know if it was a girl guy, right? But let's say Eric or Joanna heard God speak to her. When he spoke to her, he used Joanna.
Wow.
Because that's where she was at that moment.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, this is going to ruffle some feathers. I can't speak on it. It wasn't my experience. I don't know if it actually happened, whatever.
Yeah.
But they said that God spoke to them and used the name that they had in that moment. And they went back to Eric.
Yeah.
But in that moment, God didn't say, Eric, come back to me and be Eric again. God met them where they were in their sin, right? and then said, come back to me.
Yeah.
Encountered them with love, not with judgment.
Right.
Now, even that I know is very controversial to some people.
Yeah.
But I think that it illustrates what I'm trying to illustrate, regardless of our personal beliefs, right? Regarding that, I'm speaking more towards people on who might be listening. Regardless of that, what's important about that is that I think that God illustrates the idea of meeting people where they are,
Right.
of loving them, of hearing their story. God cared about how you felt in your 20s.
Yeah.
That's why you were sharing, you said that you turned away from him and that you weren't with him, but he was always there.
Yeah.
So the picture in my mind that came up was you always running and him just running after you.
Right. Right. I think that's my story. He always ran after me. And after, experiencing that in my 20s, I started suffering a lot. Started feeling those prayers of my grandmother, those prayers of my mother to draw me back to the Lord were just starting to activate in my life. And we didn't know how the Lord was going to bring me back, but he was going to bring me back, right?
Right.
So I hit my 30s and I start still wandering, doing my own thing, and things just start moving in my heart. The Lord is just like, I want to go to church now. I start visiting non-denominational. And I started going just very Sunday-ish. I was still doing my thing. And my prayers continued. Leave me alone. Like when I tell you God was like intervening in my life, like I would be in a relationship and it would just fall apart. It wasn't stable. It was constant heartbreak. And I knew that deep down inside, it was God protecting me from whatever I didn't see.
Yeah.
I was in relationships where I was physically abused, emotionally abused. And I would just continue to want to stay there. I was forcing it. But it was the Lord permitting these things for me to just separate and separate and separate. And I'm just moving forward to like almost present time now. It was in about 4 years ago, my grandmother passed away. And I remember that was a pivotal time in my life because my grandmother was a person you would just go sit next to her and you would find peace because she was that prayer warrior and that she loved her family. My grandmother probably didn't even know about my sin, but she knew, like probably thought of it, but she never spoke about it. And she loved me unconditionally.
Wow.
And I think that's where I started seeing more the love of God, where she never talked about it. She was like, hay que buscar de Dios, mijo, and she would just kiss me and hug me and say, estoy siempre orando por ti. Like that was her love. She would never call me out on whatever I was doing. Wow. And when she passed away, even in her deathbed, I think she was struggling with the fact that she wanted her family to be saved. She wanted to see them in lo camino de Dios, to say.
Yeah.
And I remember when I told her, just, you have to let go. You have to go. Everyone's going to be okay. And she just, she couldn't speak. Her just tears just came out. And that really shifted something in my life.
Yeah.
Moving forward, when she passed away, that's when my suffering just started, like dealing with her, with the grief of losing her. I started turning more to the Lord for that. And I started just, started visiting more a church and being more present in the Lord. I was still, doing my thing, very sinful. When I tell you sinful, like I was out there, I was doing like horrible things. But I remember one time I was in bed and I was under a lot of depression. I was just doing my thing. I was drinking a lot and almost had like a near death experience. And all I can think of was like God, don't take me yet. Like, don't take me yet. Like, and I wasn't worried about myself. I was worried about my mother. I was worried about how she was going to suffer not having her youngest son, and I was like, don't take me yet. Like, hold on. Like, and, he, the Lord just spared my life. He continuously spared my life. There were times where I was out in the streets where I should have been dead, like literally dead. And I don't want to go too much into details of specific things, but I started hanging around the wrong crowd, and my life was just like sex, drinking, work, do it all again.
Yeah.
And I started getting tired, bro. And I started seeing God just like moving and shifting things in my heart. I started experiencing a lot more grief. I started seeing people in my life dying that were deep close to me. I lost my cousin and about two years ago. 2 years ago. It's about to be 2 years. And shortly after that, I lost my best friend.
Wow. That's tough.
Yeah. And prior to losing him, I was visiting the church that I'm going to now with Angel and stuff. I was visiting, and the Lord was moving in my life, slowly but surely. I lose my best friend, and that really broke me. Because I was already getting healed from losing my grandmother.
Yeah.
But losing my best friend, and I remember the day that we were planning a trip. We were planning a trip for New Year's. And this happened in November. I remember the morning that I texted him and he didn't reply. I just heard a voice like, "You're not going anywhere with your friend." Little did I know that he was already dead. I didn't find out till the next day, the Tuesday. What I want to say with that is that all that suffering that began from childhood to my teenage years to my present life, I see the Lord's hand through everything. It's just if you sit back and watch, if you see the story, I don't know how I would have survived if it wasn't for the Lord.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for His hand throughout everything that I went through, I couldn't be here right now. I remember after he passed, I got into a depression, started drinking more, started doing other things I should have been doing. And then I started just hitting a rock bottom. Like March of last year, I think, I got into a car accident. Just because I was constantly drinking and just hurt from losing my best friend.
Yeah.
I started being more sexually active. I didn't care about anything. It was just parties. And then, the Lord just stopped me. And from, I think about a year, shortly after March, after I had that accident, just things started shifting in my life. The Lord started taking people out of my life. I started visiting church more often.
Yeah.
And I kind of I said, you know what? I need to change. I need, there has to be some type of shift. I can't continually showing up to church, crying, doing it all over again. And I remember for my birthday, my Pastor Chris, called me one day, and he called me FaceTime and just started talking to me like normal. And he said something that hit me. He said, just fall in love with Jesus. And I never knew about that. I don't think I've ever experienced that. I knew of God. I knew His commandments. I knew what was the sin, but no one ever emphasized to me what was the love of God or falling in love with Jesus. And everything just changed from there. Life didn't get better, but it started getting easier. And my depression came down. The Lord started taking a lot of people out of my life. I started visiting church more often, showing up to table groups. And that's where, the Lord just radically started changing my life, started peeling things out of me. And I still don't think that people, or even my family, I don't think they understand the gravity of the relationship, what it takes to start peeling things out of your life, especially living a life where it's all a sexual sin. This wasn't easy. I mean, it's hard, bro. It's hard.
I can imagine. The thing about, I guess, I don't have a term for it, but all of us have a specific sin that we struggle most with.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe we call it the principal sin for
Yeah.
for all of us, right? I firmly believe that the only thing that gets us past that, there are things that once you come to Jesus, I've heard amazing stories.
Yeah.
I've heard of people stop smoking after smoking for 40 years and they couldn't go without 3 packs a day. It's crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
People instantly stop, you know, I don't know, like most of these different things that you would think, wow, it should take some time. And then there's other things that they stay.
Yeah.
Right. And they're still struggling with them. And for me, I firmly believe that it doesn't matter how much willpower you apply, it doesn't matter how much books you read about lust, about how to control yourself as a man, whether they're biblical or unbiblical. It doesn't matter how hard you try. If it comes to that main thing that you are struggling to stop, willpower doesn't do it. The only thing that does it is his presence alone. Yeah. We need to get in his face.
Yeah.
And I believe that God made it that way because he has the power
Yeah.
he's not going to make us sinless because we have to go into glory, right? But he has the power to, I don't know, to just transform our whole lives from one moment to another. And we're like this ultra form of Eric all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that. Yeah. Why? Because he wants us to press into his presence.
Yeah.
He wants us to understand that we need him.
Yeah.
Right? To reach the stature and fullness of Christ, we need Christ, right? Like we need him. And so I feel you, bro, like 100%. Like it's not easy.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people don't understand that willpower is not going to get you there.
Yeah.
Willpower will never get you there. The only thing that gets you there is the presence of God.
Yeah.
We have to fall in love with him, like your pastor said.
Yeah.
Just fall in love with Jesus.
Right.
That solves a lot.
A lot. Yeah, you start choosing him more. Start doing things totally different. Surrendering. Like, there's things that I left easily, like that, like you said, like, but this one sin that it's just like that Paul's thorn, like it's there.
Yeah.
It's constantly knocking at my door or constantly being reminded, you know?
Yeah.
And I think if it wasn't for me falling in love with Christ and being in that presence, as you said, and choosing that presence over my desires, I don't think I would have survived. It was like, you know, it's crazy where when I started visiting church and the idea of me like just changing radically, I said, what are people going to think? And one thing that the Lord reminded me, he said, don't worry about anything. Don't worry about those people. Trust me. Trust me. And there was a season in my life where God was constantly saying, just trust me. Trust me. And I had to learn how to trust the Lord because through all those years, I didn't experience trust. I experienced betrayal, heartache, pain. So it was a lot of deconstructing as well. It was, so it was just being in his presence. Mm-hmm. His presence is what changed everything. And it wasn't my willpower. It wasn't my willpower. Yeah. Because if it was up to me, I would be doing whatever I wanted. Yeah. You know? And his presence just kept me. And I remember, I think I had a dream. It was like he covered me for a very long time. In the start of my journey with him, he covered me with his mantle, and then, like at the beginning of this year, it was like that mantle was lifted, and it was just like start choosing me. Wow. And it became rough. a lot of things just started happening where I just had to like press in more. And I thank God for that protection in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now it's just like he is allowing me to learn from every fall, every hiccup, that his love is always chasing me.
Mm-hmm.
His love is always chasing me. And the walk is not perfect. It's not going to look perfect. But he is the perfecter.
Mm.
And it's just like in Hebrews, it says that he is perfecting us at each and every day. Like he already did the work. We just got to surrender and allow him to perfect us. It's not what we can do. And yeah, it's just, I wish I knew this back in the day. I wish I had, leaders that sat with you just like I have now. It makes a heck of a difference.
Sure does.
Being vulnerable with people and telling them, hey, I'm going through this. Instead of just putting your hand on me and praying something over me that it had nothing to do with a spirit. It was just my flesh.
Mm.
A spirit may have done it. It was in the beginning, but, I have Christ just help me with my flesh now.
Mm.
Yeah, I really wish that I knew what I then passed. Like now is like, it's community, it's church, it's his presence, it's learning from everyone, getting a little bit from everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he has kept me. Yeah.
So I'm thinking of that younger version of you that wishes that you knew.
Yeah.
Wishing that you knew that, and also juggling the experience of saying, God, leave me alone.
Yeah.
What do you say to that younger version of you? Like, if you could go back right now, talk to him, what do you say to him? What words do you choose to get him to understand and maybe save all the years? Not that you had to, because I believe that God doesn't waste anything.
Yeah.
Right? But if you could go back and give a message to him to save yourself, maybe from some of that pain, what do you say to him?
I would probably say that you don't understand what I'm doing, but in the long run, you'll understand. You will see. Like, you might not get it now. Just like stay here. It's only for your own protection.
Mm.
Sometimes we just want to like drill into like people and just like slap them around their head,
Yeah.
But
We want people to change so bad.
yeah. But they have to be willing to, right? Like they have to be willing to.
That's
so
good.
What I would say to that Jason, like it's like, wow, like he's just showing you his love. You're telling him to stay out of your life, but he's literally showing you his love. Just be kind of grateful for that. Some people just don't have it. Some people don't have the intervention from the Lord. They don't have that praying grandmother.
Yeah.
That praying mother, So I would just probably say, he's not being mean. Like, he's just doing this for your good. Yeah.
Man, bro, thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing your heart.
Yeah.
I know that not all of that was easy to share, but it's beautiful to hear that you're choosing Jesus now.
Yeah.
Like, if there's one thing that I find the most beautiful is how you said that he said to you, now choose me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I really just want to thank you for your vulnerability and your heart in sharing your story. And I just want to encourage you too, man, to just keep going. Keep choosing Jesus, bro. Don't let me catch out. Don't let me catch you out here 10 years from now backsliding. I'm gonna pull this episode up and I'm gonna just be like, bro.
Yeah.
And I know that's not gonna happen. I'm messing with you, but it's such a blessing to hear, although it was super hard, all the difficulties that you went through, but in the end, God brought you to a place where you were willing to choose him. Yeah. And you made such a good point, and it was very wise of you to say that we have to be at a place where we're willing.
Yeah.
And it's his grace and his love that will allow sometimes some pretty difficult things to happen.
Yeah.
So that our heart will finally say, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I need you, God.
Yeah.
So, bro, share with me how people can connect with you.
My Instagram is JAYZON21 and Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is a base place. So
Yeah.
we'll have a link to that in the description as well.
Yeah.
And anything you want to share before we close out?
Oh yeah, I just want to encourage anyone who is like seeking the Lord and they're going through like trials and through temptation or whatever. Don't give up. Go speak to someone. Be vulnerable with somebody. Be honest with them and tell them your issues. I think that's what makes the church. And it's not it's not being in the church itself in four walls. It's just being in a community with people. And it's not going to be a pretty walk, but guess what? Like, the Lord wins all the time and he's going to be there with you. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope that you were blessed by it and share it with somebody else. Tune into this video that comes up on the screen that YouTube seems to think you'll enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. We love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.